Has anybody ever told you that?
What?
Has anybody ever told you that, how you talk?
No.
No? I love it. Like, I just be watching it in my mouth like, man, the news today. Okay, you ready? Say 365. Just level up. Level Up Podcast is here with Autumn Childress. And if you don't know her, then you're probably not watching the news. So we're going to catch you up with that. But before we do that, you can like, subscribe, and you can also hit that little button right there that you have that says subscribe. Tap that real quick. It's a Level Up with Shay, Level Up Podcast. So we're going to ask her a couple questions. We got a part 1.
Okay.
And we have a part 2.
Love that.
Okay. And so part 1, we're going to just talk about upbringing as well as getting to high school and then going to college. And then part 2, we're going to talk about her life now and where that's taken her. And also, she has a familiar person in her life that you all may know that we're going to talk about too. So stay tuned. So again, hit that button real quick and subscribe to Level Up with Shay. All right, so Autumn, you have been in the spotlight your entire life.
Pretty
literally.
much. Yes.
Yes. And you've been in the spotlight because of what person?
My mother.
Your mother. What did your mother do?
She,
well, now what does she do? Because she was.
Yeah, so she was a news anchor for Channel 8 in Richmond for 17 years.
17.
So
wow.
Yeah, so she was doing that when I was born.
Right.
So a lot of people say they remember when John Bernier, who was
right.
at Channel 8 for 40 years,
40
literally
years.
Introduced me on air,
yeah.
saying that mom and baby are doing well. And from that moment, I've been in the spotlight. Yeah.
Right. So being in the spotlight has its obviously pros and cons, ups and downs.
Yeah.
So did you know that you always wanted to be on the news?
No. Biggest misconception. People think because my mom did it, I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
But it's the opposite of that. Because she did it, I knew I did not
want to do it.
Yeah, so she was the morning anchor, meaning she had to get up every morning around 3 with me. She was a single mom. Her and my dad got a divorce when I was 2. So you can imagine finding a babysitter at 3 o'clock in the morning
yeah.
is challenging. And so there's the story that sometimes when the babysitter didn't answer the door, I would just have to go with her to work. And just seeing that struggle
yeah.
sometimes, and then seeing how she had to, regardless of what was going on behind the scenes, put on a face
yeah.
and make sure Richmond was okay.
Yeah.
I did not think that I could do it. Not just I didn't
yeah.
want to do it, I don't think that I could do it, right? Because strong black women, they do a lot of stuff that seem impossible.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I got to college, and we can talk about this a little later, that a professor of mine said, you have a gift for speaking, and when you speak, people listen. And that's when I decided, okay, communications is what I wanted to do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you went through Midlothian High School,
I did.
middle school, then to the high school.
Yeah.
And so as you matriculated through there, you played basketball.
Yes.
So was basketball your first love or main sport, or did you want to do something else in basketball?
No, basketball was my first love. I remember being a kid, my dad played for like the 40 and up league at the YMCA, where he thought he was like the Kobe of the league.
Right.
And so he would bring me with him. I would sit on the bench with him, and I would tell him when he was not having a good game.
Oh, my.
And so, and so that's when I fell in love with basketball.
Yeah.
And he built me a court in our backyard. And it's funny, as a kid, I thought this was the biggest court.
Yeah.
And as an adult, I've gone back to the house, and it's probably no bigger than the space we're sitting in.
God.
But as a kid, it was like Christmas
really big,
every day.
yeah.
And he would pick me up from school, and the first thing I would do was get to the house and jump out of the car and just play basketball until it was time to go inside and go to bed.
Wow, and that's how I met you at Midlothian.
Yeah.
As a teacher, but you had a different coach, and I remember you had 2 coaches, I think, at the time. And I remember your last coach asked if I wanted to coach with her, and I said, oh, God, no. Because I hadn't been anybody's assistant, and I had only been a head coach. I'm like, I can't be someone's assistant when I, not think I know more than them. But I knew, like, my passion and where my love was for it. So I think that's what drew us to each other. Mm-hmm. And as being one of the few black teachers in the entire building, I think at the time was probably 4 people of color. In the building on the staff. One happened to be me. But just having that connection with the students of color was important then, and I'm still doing that now because I believed in that even when I was coaching my young ladies, my goal was to help as many black kids as I could go to college, right? And so it happened. So just seeing you all go matriculate through high school, and now I'm not gonna say be okay, but be better than just, I'm a student here and I go here to this school. I want to do something different. So what was it like going to Longwood? Because it changed from college to university. Was Longwood your first option?
Yeah, so going back to just so you know, your class was one of my favorite classes at Midlothian, but I hate science, right? I'm a communications girl. I'm a word girl. I hated science, but because of you, your class was my favorite. I don't know the parts of the cell.
It's okay.
I'm going to try to.
Plant and animal.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Right. I remember that you taught me that, but it was just being in your class and being in your space was the highlight of my year. I believe it was my junior year.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Thank you.
So just what you're doing is important. So
Thank you.
so that's on the record,
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, so Longwood, no, it was not my first option. When I was in high school, my freshman year, AAU season, if you know how that works, it's high school and then it's AAU. So played my whole freshman year for Midlow. Didn't make varsity originally. First JV game, scored 40 points. Varsity lost by 40, so I got the call that night saying, can you come to varsity? Anyway, so played my whole freshman year for Midlow, and then it was time for AAU season. And before the season started, we were doing a scrimmage at practice, and went up for a layup, came down, excruciating pain, could not play the rest of the practice. Played a tournament actually because I was just being hard-headed, and even though I was in pain, I didn't know what injuries were. And so played the tournament. After the tournament, I literally could not walk. And so my mom made me go to the doctor, got the MRI, the whole shebang, and they told me that I had torn my meniscus in 2 places and that the recovery time was about 6 months. And so that was the first time that I had ever been without basketball in the first 12, 13 years of my life. And so it was traumatizing. It was brutal watching my teammates play the sport that I love to play, and having to be on the sidelines and still being happy for them and encouraging to them when internally you were just itching to get back on the court. And so I'm going somewhere with this, as they say in church. And so got back, recovered, and I had a big brace on my left knee my first game back. We were playing Cosby High School. Huge brace on, and so I'm ready to go. First play of the game. Tip the ball back to me. I'm like, great, like this is my time to shine. This is 6 months that I have not touched a basketball. Go up for a layup like I always do. Came down, excruciating pain. But it wasn't the knee that the brace was on. It was on my other knee. And what's funny is I have video of this happening because my mom was recording, and you'd think as a mom she would drop the video and go help, but in her mind she was thinking there is no way that this girl is on the floor again hurt. So she's recording thinking that I'm just going to get up, and eventually you see Coach Layton run out, and then they stop the game, the teams go, and I'm like rolling over in pain. Go to the doctor, MRI. They told me I had torn my ACL, my MCL, and my meniscus twice in my right knee. And instead of 6 months, it was 9 months to a year. And so I was devastated again because before that, I was getting letters from the UVAs, the UNCs, the Marylands, and the letters, they stopped. Because this was now 2 years without AAU, which is heavy recruiting time. And in your freshman to sophomore years, that's when people are committing and signing. And for me, I'm out of the mix. And all of a sudden, nobody really cares what you did in middle school, breaking the records at Tomahawk. Nobody really cares about that. You haven't played in 2 years now. And so those letters stopped, the conversation stopped. Fortunately, was able to recover and play my full junior year. So I had some interest from Mount St. Mary's up in Maryland, from Elon. I had gotten a letter from Longwood, but in my mind, just from
it's not where I'm going.
I'm not going to Longwood.
We're not going there.
Longwood is familiar. I'm not going to Longwood, right? So wasn't even given Longwood the time of day until they offered me, actually my junior year. I went to Girls State, which was at Longwood, and I just happened to be on campus when the coach called me and said, hey, are you able to come to Longwood? I'm like, I'm here now. And he offered me then. But again, I'm not going to Longwood until my senior year, about 3-4 games in, very familiar feeling, went up for a layup, came down on my left knee again, rolling over in pain, and went to the doctor. I tore my ACL in my left knee. And so all of the offers were off the table at that point, except for Longwood. And I remember calling Coach Reinson, and I explained to him what happened. And in my mind, I am preparing for him to say thanks, but no thanks.
No thanks, right.
You know, we loved what you could do, but your knees don't want you to play
Right.
basketball anymore, respectfully. And so we are going to move on.
Yeah.
And I remember him telling me, as long as you promise me that you will recover to get back to where you were, we will still honor the offer. And that's when I knew this is where I need to be, because they were giving me grace. They liked me from the beginning, and I needed to go somewhere where I could feel like I was making an impact, but also had leadership there who would be able to work with me. And understanding the mental aspect of coming back from injuries, that's tough. Even when your legs are recovered, it's the mental of, I don't ever want to do a layup again.
Right, I know. Because if I come down again, like it's gonna hurt me.
Layups, they should be the easiest in the game, but the past 3 have ended me up in the hospital. So I don't want to do layups anymore. But so no, to answer your question, I did not always want to go to Longwood, but it was the best decision that I've ever made. And
I remember talking to you, Daisha, and some of the other young ladies about school. And because I was always intrigued about basketball, and I would talk to y'all after every game. We'll have a little session about basketball. What could y'all done better? What could y'all do better? And I actually came to y'all games, so I just like watching y'all, and I hadn't seen that many young ladies of color at the school in a long time, right? To all be on one team, you know, so it was kind of exciting to see you all. But I just would ask because I wanted to make sure you all were okay, and I knew what it was like to get the young ladies who I coached into a school that fit them, but also with the injuries that you had, because it was like one after the other, and I was like, are you gonna be okay? And some days I could tell you were here, and some days I could tell you were there. Just by looking at you, just by talking to you. And some days I wouldn't even say anything about basketball. I would just be like, okay, we're going to talk about this today. Let's teach, because I could tell that it wasn't the space for you to be able to express yourself, because you had gone through so much with the sport, the only sport that you did, right? And the only sport that you love. So as we talk about that, bringing to the point of young people, of course, there was a couple years ago that you went to college. But even the young people that are coming now, they see glamour, right? They see, oh, this school is ranked, whatever. Or, you know, I think I'm ranked in the 804, please. Or I'm ranked 804, 757. But there are so many other zip codes out there that are coming to this one school that you also want to go to. So just speak really quickly. If you had 3 words, or it could be statements, it could be whatever, to these young people from high school to college, and how they should prepare themselves when they've had issues such as injuries and when they haven't. How to stay steadfast in what they're trying to do.
Well, I think going in, it's fine to be ranked and to know who you are as a player and to have that confidence, but also being humble, because loving basketball, right? You go in and it's the upperclassmen like, okay. So I think just being humble and then going in with an open mind and trying to soak up as much as you can from the older people, from your coaches, because high school and college are totally different. The way the workouts are, the way the coaching style is, the teammates, the workload in general, right? In high school, I was able to come home, do my homework real quick, go to practice, be at practice 2 hours, then go to AAU practice and be fine. In college, it's like you're traveling. So it's no just go home. You're traveling. The workload is so much more. You're trying to find yourself. Weights in the morning, conditioning, and then practice is 3 workouts compared to 2 hours after school. So just having that work balance and making sure that you were just staying totally focused on why you're there.
And a lot of young people, the part about the workouts, because those workouts are also, you are the adult now. So there is no mom saying, okay, you got practice, hurry up and get ready, I'm gonna drop you off. Or the mom saying, you remember you got practice today? Or the dad saying, come on, I'm gonna take you to practice. You know you got practice today. There is no one saying all those things. And when you don't show up, it's because you didn't show up. It's not because your mom was late, your mom was working, my dad just got off, I didn't have a ride, and all those things. There is no coach coming to say, why didn't you show up? There's punishment or more conditioning for the team because you were late or whatever. So I think sometimes student athletes don't understand that the habits that you have in high school, if you take those bad ones with you, you won't last.
But I will say, a coach and your teammates will whip you into shape very quickly, because it's not just about you not showing up to practice. If you don't show up to practice, we got 10 extra sprints.
Right.
And I'm not running 10 extra
For
sprints.
you.
So I'm waking up 10 minutes early to make sure everybody, at least this is how we were in
Yeah.
college, everybody in my space, we up and we out, right?
Yeah.
And so I think there is kind of that accountability, and that's when the camaraderie of
Yeah.
teams come into play,
Yeah.
because it's not just about you, it's about the collective of the team too.
And I know it's, some students feel like I'm on a football team, so I can get away with this, or I'm on the basketball team or track or whatever it is. I mean, and just running track, in college, our coach didn't stay on us, but they stayed on us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're going to go to the study hall, that's at night. You're not going to go with your friends. You're going to rush to the cafeteria, you're going to eat, and you're running.
To study hall.
Right, so, or in the morning, I had morning workouts because I had always had 8 o'clock classes. So I had to go at 6 o'clock. Everybody else sleep. And then I say, Coach, hey, I got class at 8. Okay, we'll be done. It's 7:50.
Yeah, you still
I'm
gotta get to
running across campus and I am sweating. I'm like, oh my God. But those are things you have to learn to adjust that you do, but that you also figure out, how do I make this work for me and what I'm trying to do? And a lot of students don't understand that piece of it because you don't have that mom there or dad or whomever, guardian, telling you what to do every single time. So as you get to college and you are playing, and in Autumn's mind, she's still the number one thing since sliced bread, right? However,
not really, but okay. Because I was very humble, and I was just, and I say this truthfully, just happy to be there.
To be there, right?
I was just happy
Because
to
what
be
you've
there.
gone through.
Yeah.
So being humble is what I'm going to talk about. Being humble is not about just laying over and just say, okay, whatever, if I get to play or not. No, but being humble to understand the space you're in, the time it takes to be there, the person who's guiding you there, the teammates that you have, your living space.
Yeah.
The cafeteria is such a good place when you're hungry, But how do young people understand about, although you say you're humble, but how do you make sure that 1 year becomes 2, becomes 3, becomes 4? Because now coaches, they don't want to let you go.
Yeah.
And it's we don't need you. So how do they make sure that they're doing what they have to do once they're there, though? Like, once you are there, what do you do?
I think just remembering why you're there, but also the stakes of you being there. There were several times where I had to remind myself, this is not a right, this is a privilege. Like, I am privileged to be here learning for free.
Yeah.
And so I think that, to me, at least, waking up every day and knowing, because I've seen it happen to teammates who didn't show up to practice, who couldn't get their grades right, who weren't contributing to the team, who were cancers to the team. I've seen them be let go.
Yeah.
And so that in itself is humbling to know you think you're irreplaceable right up until you are replaced. And so to me, that's all that it took.
Yeah.
And I had teammates from the 804, Day-Day, Raven, right there on Longwood's team, who kept me in my place. They encouraged me when I needed to, but they also made sure that I know that, you're not just here to be here, you're here to contribute, and that in itself is enough.
And we have to hold people accountable too, because I don't think sometimes as teammates, they always hold each other accountable, right? But in a professional setting, like college, you have to.
You have to.
Because if not, you're going to pay for what everybody else did or didn't do, or what they're not doing, right? So, all right, we're going to wrap up part 1, but I want to ask you, if you could do anything over from high school to college, to playing in a game, to maybe playing 5 minutes, maybe playing 10 minutes, to getting hurt again, what would you do differently? Maybe 2 things that you would do differently.
Wow. Well, obviously would not get hurt, but
Right.
honestly, I truly believe that everything happens for a reason. And we can talk about this more in part 2, but I think without the injuries, I would not have known what else I like to do in my life. Being out of the game for so long, it forces you to find yourself. Because to me, up until the first injury, if you ask me who is Autumn, Autumn is a basketball player. But for years and years, who is Autumn without basketball?
Right.
I kind of don't know who she is. And so I'm thankful for the injuries, because they forced me at a young age to find that identity. You love to write, you love to be creative, you love putting projects together. And I see in my life now, I have to write every day. I have to be creative every day. I had to come out of my shell. And I think also being at Longwood was divine, because I had that professor, and my first class at Longwood happened to be public speaking. I don't know if that's the case at every school, but it was at Longwood. And so I don't know, without that professor, where my life would have gone. But I know that the work that I've done in my life now, I know that it's where I'm supposed to be. And so do-over, I don't know. I'd have to sit and think with that. That's a good question.
That's good.
But I'm confident that every single injury happened for a reason.
So we're not going to do this over. We're going to tell you part 2, so come back because there's so much more that you don't know about autumn children.